Well, good morning, everyone. I hope you're all well. Hope you've all had a nice weekend. Strange weather here today. We've gone from sunshine to snow, back to sunshine, and now we've got some snow again. So the weather seems to be a bit confused. I think I mentioned last week that I tend to record current affairs programs for the week and have a flick through them. And this morning I saw one from last week, which was The Tonight Show, and it was about trans kids. So I thought I'd say a few words about that issue this morning, as I've had a couple of debates on Twitter about it this morning. Sometimes you just feel like you've inadvertently drifted into the twilight zone. And that is pretty much how I feel about this. The program, The Tonight Show, and I'll put all the links at the bottom of this video. The Tonight Show, and it opened up with the question of, are we putting ideas into children's heads that weren't there before? And then we go on a few minutes later to be told that kids are being taught in school now, matter-of-factly, that there are 30 genders. One mother said, my child was told there were 30 genders. My own nephew actually over Christmas told me that someone had been to his school to tell them the same thing. Now surely that answers the question. Are we putting ideas into children's heads? Yes, we're putting the notion that there are several genders. This one was 30. Who knows how many more other people are telling them there are. How utterly, utterly confusing this must be. I don't know where the line is drawn either about who's a boy and who's a girl. We're told not to stereotype genders, and yet, if a girl picks up a football, is she then a boy trapped in a girl's body? What the hell is going on here? This is crazy. Leave children be. Let them be. And this matter-of-fact teaching that there are so many genders has got to be confusing children, has got to be producing real self-esteem issues. This is crazy. And what this is a radical idea, radical politics being imposed upon children by radical left teachers and radical left teachers unions to throw all order in the air, to throw out any sort of structure that we may have had, and to confuse everybody. And it's working. And this is going to lead to a mess, and it is already leading to a mess. And the losers in this mess will be girls, real girls. I hear it's called cis girls. I only found out what cis meant a couple of years ago, so I'm not really in the know on this issue. And I wish I hadn't found out what it meant. But let's have a look at a couple of examples of what's happening with this gender transition stuff. And by the way, this has only come about in the last few years, and I don't care what anyone says. We were not told this as kids. We were not told this as kids. All of a sudden, overnight, we went from male and female to several dozens of genders. This has come out of nowhere, and it's causing a complete mess. Let me give you a couple of examples. I sent one out on Twitter this morning of someone in Texas. Now, this is a female to male transsexual who is taking testosterone, but despite taking testosterone, is still competing in a women's wrestling contest. Now, for 2 years in a row, this person has beat someone called Chelsea Sanchez. And if I were Chelsea Sanchez, I'd be really rather peed off right now. 2 years in a row, she has lost to someone who is allowed to take performance-enhancing drugs. How is this fair? And how is this ever going to be fair on girls who want to compete in girls' sports? They may as well just pack up and go home at this stage. Now, I realize people are again not getting it. And this debate I've had on Twitter this morning, I realize that this trans person is not allowed to compete as a man, but he shouldn't be allowed to compete as a woman either, because they're taking performance-enhancing drugs and putting all the girls who will have trained for years, who will probably have spent a fortune because sport isn't cheap, and then they're just blown aside by someone who's allowed to take performance-enhancing drugs and still allowed to compete. How on earth is this fair? And what is it going to do to girls and women's sports? There's another example. Again, I'll stick all these underneath the video, of New Zealand. A New Zealand team, a male to female transsexual weightlifting team, someone who had competed in male weightlifting, then transitioned and started competing in female weightlifting, and of course won. So once again, you have women who will have trained for years, who will have spent a fortune, who will have dreamed about these things, who will have put every effort into it, just swept aside, no chance, because they're now up against a massive male weightlifter. This is insane. This is insane. And women are put at a serious disadvantage here. And no one seems to care. I mean, even the feminists, well, we know about feminists nowadays, but even the feminists don't care. They're on the side of the male who wants to enter female sports competitions. But what's even crazier, and what's even more worrying about this is a story that came up yesterday here in the UK. Someone, a teacher, had the goal to misgender, i.e. to use the wrong gender pronoun for a child, and the school called the police. I repeat that. A teacher used the wrong gender pronoun for a child, and the school called the police. The police came. I wonder if they'd be, phone them over a burglary and see if they come. But the police came to this emergency situation, and the Crime Prosecution Service quickly confirmed that yes, indeed, a crime had been committed. A teacher committed a crime by misgendering a child in a school. This is how crazy this is. Now look, I don't hate anyone. I understand that gender dysphoria is a thing, and I actually sympathize with people who think that they are in the wrong body. But I will not be asked to, and I will not agree to alter objective reality. The British Medical Association talks about pregnant men in its guidance. This is an alteration of objective truth. This is indulging insanity by the British Medical Association, of all people. This I won't do. I won't alter objective realities in order to appease a small minority. And I won't sit back and say nothing either, while girls in sport are suddenly find themselves having to compete against boys who are much, much bigger than them, who have a massive advantage over them. And if they object, if they say anything, they'll be told to shut up. They're full of hate. The police are being called over this. The police who can't or won't prosecute rapists all over this country. Police who acknowledge that gang rapists are still preying on young girls all over this country are turning up and taking seriously and charging with a crime teachers who use the wrong gender pronoun. This I won't accept either. And it's got nothing to do with hate. It's got to do with justice and some good old plain old-fashioned common sense. Where is it gone? This is crazy. We have to stop these radical teachers' unions imposing radical politics, because that is what it is, onto children, confusing them, disadvantaging girls, and all so that they can throw the structure of our society up in the air. Leave children alone. Leave them alone. Let them be kids. This stuff should not be in schools at all. We should be teaching them how to get a job, how to be literate, how to do maths, how to do sciences, how to learn languages. Leave this stuff out of the classroom once and for all. And the National Union of Teachers is a shameful organisation which is pushing this stuff, and it should be stopped. Now, if it is for Britain policy that we actively oppose and rein in the teachers' unions and tell the teachers what they can and cannot teach. And transgenderism is something they should not be bringing into schools. End of story. Leave children alone. Let them be children and stop imposing this nonsense on them. And if a girl wants to play with certain toys, let her. If a boy wants to play with certain toys, let him. They'll probably grow out of it anyway. Who cares? We used to laugh at things like this. This is insanity. We shouldn't be indulging it. It's unfair, it's unjust, and it's leading to absolute chaos. Okay, that's it for me for this morning. I shall see you back here at 11 o'clock. Another thing I watched, actually, last night was a documentary on John Warboys. So we'll have a little chat about him tomorrow. Okay, take care. See you at 11 tomorrow.
We will make America great again.